right. Okay, there you go. Stomp. Yeah, easy one for the choir there. Okay, so seems to be in the spirit.
Yes. I'm in the spirit. It's a Monday morning, and you know that Monday is a great day. We are still in the month of November, and that's my birth month, so I love November. So every day I'm a happy man.
Yeah, we've got just one more to say goodbye to
Yes. One more day, but of
Hey.
course, then we get into
This year,
December.
it's been a quick one. hasn't it?
Absolutely.
No.
Yep. Yeah, it has.
No,
I agree.
Could you? I have some $10,000 for you on the 31st of December. Now start counting. You see how long it will take you to 31st December.
Oh.
When you look back, it's so short, but when you look forward to it, it's a
But
very
how
long
did you
time.
start it that way? Could you? I have some 10,000.
I'm hoping you mean it.
No, let's get to our Drive Safe campaign brought to us by Joy News and the Multimedia Group and supported by Toyota Ghana Company Limited. Toyota, superior quality. Avoid all distractions, keep both eyes on the road and hands on the steering wheel, and that's how to ensure your safe arrival.
Let's say it right. Brought to us by Koba Payments app, Koba Lives Simplified, and Kingdom Books at Kingdom. Quality and affordability is our hallmark. Here's how to say it right.
So I think it's time. Let's go.
Something must be done.
Nimweezy,
Jojo.
I hope you know we are now officially late.
Oh, stop being so dramatic. It'll just be a few more minutes.
Yeah, that's what you said almost an hour ago.
Well, I mean it this time. Just a few more minutes.
What choice do I have? I'll just sit here and console myself with the fact that you said it right, at least.
Well, what did I say right?
You said a few minutes instead of some few minutes.
Ah, yes. That's another all too common mistake. The phrase a few refers to a small number or quantity of something. The word some also refers to an unspecified number or amount of something. So when you say some few, it's like saying an unspecified number of a small number of something.
And that is an unnecessarily large mouthful.
Right?
You're right, though. Words like a, some, and any are called quantifiers. A few is also a quantifier. So when you say some few, you're mixing quantifiers, and it just doesn't work. Just like your delay tactics don't work anymore. Anymore, I'm leaving without you.
Oh, I'm almost done. Oh, just a few.
Well, that's how you say it, right? But I like all the drama in there.
yeah.
Yes, Kojo and Enimwa. We should produce a movie starring the two of you. Anyway, let's get into the news review.
All right, it's brought to us by First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different. IAS Ghana, absolutely positively the best on the market. And Compu Ghana, passion for technology.
All right, let's start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. 2022 budget statement rejected or not? Rejected. Majority minority tango over decision in Parliament. Well, it has been rejected, hasn't it? Apparently, it's not so clear, but the decision has been made. Whether or not the basis is good, I guess it's still a decision that has been made unless it is overturned. Ghana Health Service outlines measures to check COVID-19 upsurge in December. So very soon, before you go to the nightclub, the beach, or to a restaurant to eat in, you must be vaccinated. Nungwa Stool elders pile pressure for return of land at Spintex Road. That issue is still very much on, and 386 suspected criminals nabbed in 5 regions.
Well, the Daily Graphic, uncertainty over 2022 budget, heated debate expected tomorrow. And December declared COVID-19 vaccination month. Operation Kundangu makes massive swoop and will improve standards of personnel prisons. DG pledges. Backpage has beat JS Saura 2-0 and Karela hold Kotoko also at the back page of the Daily Graphic.
That was quick. Well, the Daily Guide newspaper, Bagman causes chaos, flies to Dubai. Minister moves ECG grid code to Kumasi over power cuts, and government alerts over new COVID-19 Omicron variant. Thankfully, according to the Ghana Health Services Director, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, we have not recorded any case of the Omicron variant yet in Ghana.
All right. Okay. So listen, this thing in Parliament is occupying everybody's minds. We need to know the way forward. So let's talk to a couple of people who can help us see what the plans are on both sides of the house. So we have on the line John Kumah, who of course is the Deputy Finance Minister, is a member of the majority in Parliament. Mr. Kumah, good morning and thank you for your time.
Morning, Kojo. Good morning to your listeners.
Now, obviously, the question is really quite simple. What is the next move if the NPP insists that the budget has not been rejected?
Well, the budget has not been rejected. The Constitution is clear, Article 104. The standing orders is clear, Order 109. In all this, you require half members of Parliament to be present, for majority of them to take a decision on any motion. In the absence of that, you don't even have the quorum to make a decision. So clearly, the budget is not rejected, and we are prepared to work with our friends on the other side to make sure that we approve the 2022 budget. That is a request the finance minister made, that he has heard their concerns. He is prepared to work with them and make the necessary input so that we can all have consensus on the budget. Unfortunately, we had a speaker who was traveling and didn't have the patience to even adjourn for that engagement to be done. But as we all know, this is almost a hung parliament that requires a lot of consensus building. And Ghanaians are expecting that both sides engage and talk to each other. And yes, I understand that we should have engaged earlier, but it's better late than never. When the finance minister says he has heard your concern, give me opportunity to engage, and you say no, how do we build the consensus? And then you go ahead without respecting the Constitution and the standing orders and make claims that you have rejected the budget. That is totally unfounded. So we are prepared to work together. We are prepared to respect the law and the Constitution, and we are willing to work with our friends on the other side to approve the budget for the country.
Now, Dr. Kumah, the minority is issued a statement and they're making 5 requests. They say government should suspend the electronic transaction levy and properly engage stakeholders to agree on a reasonable policy. They want the withdrawal of EJAPA. They say provide for tidal waves disaster victims by building or by continuing the phase 2 of the Blekusu Coastal Protection Project. And they say properly reconstruct the wording relating to Aker Energy and review the benchmark value for imports. These, according to them, are the conditions they're setting before the budget will be approved. Is the government and the majority group willing to engage the minority on these conditions?
Well, first of all, it's a democracy, and people are entitled to express their opinion. If you have a minority who are only interested in complaining without offering alternatives, it is very sad. I read their statement, and I'm like, okay, so you put down these 5 conditions, suspend the e-levy. What is the alternative? Because as a government, you have been in government before. You need to raise revenues to be able to spend. You are asking that we take care of the country, we pay workers, we address infrastructure issues, we go ahead with the flagship programs. How are we going to do that? So if you are telling us suspend e-levy, what is the alternative? They should tell us. And the concerns we raise on the constitutionality and the lack of respect for standing orders, they didn't even address it in their statement. And they are claiming that they have rejected the budget. On what basis? So if it's a democracy, they can have an opinion. Like the finance minister has put out, we are prepared to engage. The budget we are preparing is not for MPP people, it's Ghana, and they are part of Ghana. So where there is reasonability in the request, we are prepared to carry it on board. But then we must see alternatives. We must see which options work better for the country. It is not about politics, and propaganda. We are prepared to engage on any issues that they can offer a better alternative. We are prepared.
And talking about alternatives, we get to, the questioning about the legality. Because if you read their statement, they say the government should suspend the e-levy and properly engage stakeholders to agree on a reasonable policy. So,
and what is that reasonable
hold on a second. They are saying,
Okay.
let us sit down and agree on a reasonable policy. Is that not a step in the right direction? Rather than
No.
saying, do this, let's sit down and agree on what we should do going forward.
You see, it's so big. There's a budget before you.
Mm-hmm.
The government proposal is to put e-levy down as a way of raising revenue for the country. And you say that you are rejecting it. Tell us, what is your alternative? Now you are saying stakeholders should sit down and come out with reasonable. What kind of vague language is that? If it are beyond politics and propaganda, there's nothing in anything they are raising. Otherwise, we must be specific. If you are saying no e-levy, tell government we want you to use A, B, C, D to raise the revenues so that you can spend. But
Okay.
you just come and say go to stakeholders and engage for reasonable. What is the meaning of reasonable engagement?
Well, can you hold on a minute?
There's no better alternative.
Can you hold on a minute? Because the Member of Parliament for Asawasi and Minority Chief Whip, Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka, has also joined us. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
So your colleague, Member of Parliament for Ejisu and Deputy Finance Minister, says the condition when you say suspend the electronic transaction levy and you say government should suspend the e-levy and properly engage stakeholders to agree on a reasonable policy is vague. You should be providing alternatives.
Well, that's exactly what we are telling them. I mean, every bill that comes to the House, unfortunately, my colleague is a first timer. He will admit that our standing orders make provision for us to engage. And he knows that the e-levy is definitely going to come as a bill. And in the bill, almost every bill in the House, you are required to engage the public. So you invite a public memoranda, see the views of ordinary Ghanaians and what they are thinking are, and then you use that to shape what you are doing. And then you're talking about what is the alternative. My brother, just ask how much of resources have they gotten from 2017 to now, and how have they used it? How have they used it? That is the biggest grasp of the issue, that you just keep collecting these monies, and very little is shown for it. Very, very little. Look at the borrowing.
Well, but,
they came to meet it at 120. Today it's at 341 per their own reporting. How much is it showing? The extravagant expenditure.
Now,
that's not
Member of
worry.
Parliament.
And to say the least, if you permit me, you see, look, our colleagues should know that they have lost it. They should allow cool heads to prevail. They should go back to the drawing board, do what is right, and avoid this, with the lack of better word, Ghanaian parlance, the patapa thing that they are trying to do. Because the House is governed by rules. It's just too unfortunate. I overheard the majority of the House chairman also saying that the Speaker should bow his head in shame. In essence, it is, if anybody has to bow his head in shame, it is he. Because he has become a spent layer and has how to live his usefulness as a leader. Because look, how do you have 137 members plus an independent member who has chosen to do business with you? And you knew from the day the debate started that everything, the posture, everything points to the fact that the minority were going to oppose this thing. And then the day came, you didn't have your number. In fact, on Tuesday, before the Friday, he claims to have intercepted the message that I sent to my caucus, the trail language. And he was arrogantly showing to others, look, I have given it to put trail language. Yes, but to what end did he use it? He didn't. If we in opposition, with very little resources, we could marshal all our 137, and you with government behind you, you couldn't marshal your forces, who are you blaming? You should rather blame yourself.
Honorable
Because if you
Muntaka.
had all your 138 in the chamber, we will not be where we are. You simply vote, and maybe you have your 138 because it is not even a secret ballot, it's an open voting. Now you are throwing all manner of insults against an innocent person, the speaker.
So,
When you
Honorable
know-
Muntaka, please allow me. One of the criticisms is that your statement did not address the issue of Article 1041 and your own standing orders 109, which says if you're making a decision, you must have at least half of members present in the House. 137 is not half of members in the House, is it?
My sister, so it's good. Let's do this segregation. Go and take Article 104. Read it. It talks about Parliament. It doesn't talk about chamber. Read 109, the standing orders. It talks about the House. It doesn't talk about the chamber. Let's give the public some education. In the UK, when voting starts and they ring the bell, the doors are locked. No member comes in, no member goes out. So they talk about chamber. In our case, if you read Order 114, 113 and 114, it talks about a member doesn't necessarily need to hear the question, can vote, meaning that you can be in your office, and when there is voting, you can run in and vote. The doors are not locked. Until voting is over, you can be in the car park. When you hear there's voting, you can walk in and not even knowing which question has been put. You just follow maybe your caucus and then you vote. That is our standing orders.
But how does
Listen,
that explain the issue of at least half of MPs?
We are educating the public, so let us educate them very well. When it talks about time for voting, the moment the debate on the budget ended, it was time for voting. And after the time for voting, they were in the chamber. They decided to walk out during the time of voting. We are talking about our practice also. It is, you see, when you have three things you use when you are interpreting or you are going to give meaning to what we do. You use the Constitution, you use our standing orders, and you use our practice. And let me give you a typical example. When we were doing the amendment to the Legal Education Act, Professor Quay, the speaker, was seated. And I stood up to draw his attention that we did not have the minimum number to take a decision. Because I couldn't catch his eye, he put the question, he ended it, and all my argument, even though I tried to put the mic on to still scream that, look, we don't have number to take this, because it was not official, it stood. The decision stood, even though that time, all those media who were there could see that those of us in the chamber did not add up. Even your reporters reported it. But the next day, the vote and proceedings of the House showed, including members who were in the committee, wait and see on Tuesday what will be the number the vote and proceedings will record as members in the House. It will record more than 270. And lastly, let me tell you, everywhere in every parliament around the world, when you sit until a member on the floor gets up to talk about quorum, assume. Until a member gets up to raise the issue of number, that you don't have the number to take a decision, and it is recorded, it is assumed. That is the practice everywhere in the world. Why were they not? Why didn't they stand in to raise that issue? And they walked out because they knew they didn't have the number. So now today, because of what you're saying, let's assume, for the purpose of argument, that you can deliberately see that this other side is 100, we are 90. So let's walk out. There will be no decision that will be taken in Parliament. No decision will be taken in Parliament. That's why Parliament is structured the way it is. That's why I'm referring you back. Go and look at 104. It doesn't talk about chamber. Go and look at 109, our standing order. It doesn't talk about chamber. It talks about the House. And when you go to the interpretation, the House is said to be House means Parliament. It's not talking about chamber. So those who are going around giving all this somersaulting definition, they should know three things guide what we do: the Constitution, the standing orders, and our practice. So these are very, very important. And when there's doubt, Order 6 is very clear. When there's doubt about the true meaning of a word or a practice, it is only the speaker.
Okay,
our
so
standing order says it's only the speaker that can give meaning to it.
I want to be sure that I got your argument. So you're saying that even though we had 137 MPs in the chamber, because in Parliament as a whole we had more than that, it meant that you had at least half of MPs present to take that decision that you took.
Nobody stood up. to raise the issue of number, for us to count and
No.
see exactly how many people
Well,
were there.
because I remember Mr. Speaker mentioning specifically the fact that there were 137 members present.
No, that was a different vote. There was a vote first on the division. That was lost. That one, because a division has already been called, there was a head count. But remember, between two votes is a different ballgame in Parliament. Because people could go out, others may come in. And if you are not in the chamber to raise it, it is assumed. And that's how every parliament around the world operates. Except in the US, where every vote, every decision is taken by a counted vote. That one, they give it a time. They say that we are voting for 15 minutes. So even if you are in the chamber and you don't press your button and the 15 minutes is up, the game is closed on you. Only US does that. Most parliament, it is assumed until somebody raises it.
Okay. Mr. Kumar, if you're still with us, I want a quick reaction to something in particular. Your side walked out of proceedings that included voting on the budget. I'm seeking to understand, now that you say you are ready to engage, why did you not engage instead of walking out?
Okay, so thank you. Let me explain the circumstances of the walkout. The finance minister, after making a prayer for opportunity to incorporate the sense of the minority, the speaker immediately said, no, you should have engaged earlier. And then upon protest, he put it to vote. Now, he said a no had it, and then Honorable Afenyo King called for a division to confirm the vote. And then in the process, Honorable Muntaka, my senior on the line, said that all the ministers must leave the parliament as part of the divisions because it's going to be, they should leave the lobby. And then Honorable Afenyo King came back and quoted Article 111. And Article 111 is very clear that the vice president, ministers, and deputy ministers are part of parliamentary proceedings. They could be there. Voting is part of parliamentary proceedings. Okay, and so to ask the minister to leave, yes, he doesn't have a vote and he's not going to vote. But to ask him to vote is contrary to the provisions of the Constitution. In the first place, it is even his motion we are debating. But the speaker insisted. And whilst he was about leaving, the speaker went ahead to call the marshal to take the finance minister out of the parliament. And for us, that was the highest level of, excuse me to use the word, disrespect or attack on the finance minister. Because clearly, if you read parliamentary proceedings anywhere, a call on of the marshal on anybody in parliament is like declaring the person an illegality. And here is a person who is here on the requirement of the law. The law, also the Constitution, the highest law of the land, allows him to be part of proceedings. And not only are you sacking him, you are calling the marshal to take him out. And we felt that we cannot watch for such ill treatment of the finance minister to go on. Okay, and then our attempt to prompt him that, okay, if you are sacking the finance minister, the general secretary of your party is also in the public gallery. Get him out, because this yeah, and no, if the concern is that no members will vote, from the public gallery, when you shout no, it can still mess up with the minority voice. So clear him too. All protestations failed. So it became clear that the speaker was not prepared to be neutral in the matter. He was treating us unconstitutionally and unfairly. And this is what led to the walkout. And my senior colleague on the other side just said that if there is confusion in parliamentary practice, it is the speaker who will interpret. When it comes to the Constitution, it's not the speaker who interprets it. And Article 104 is very clear that if you don't have half of members in the parliament, you cannot take any decisions as far as motions of parliament is concerned. It is not only the standing orders. So what they have done in law and in practice is not proper.
Right.
It's not proper. And sometimes, like he said, even in the practice, many MPs could be around in their offices and in their chambers whilst proceedings is going on. If a member raises the question of quorum, Parliament is suspended for other MPs to come and join, even though maybe they might have registered their names and they are within the House of Parliament, maybe in their office. Or sometimes we stop committee meetings for members to come back into the chamber before decisions are made.
So are you saying the Speaker should have called you back after you walked out?
I'm saying that if he's talking about because we were in the chambers or because we were in the House of Parliament, it meant that they had quorum. It cannot be possible because those who voted were 137, which is less than at least half of members of Parliament. And so that cannot constitute a binding decision on Parliament or anybody.
All right. Now,
and like I said, we prepared to engage. We are prepared to talk, and that was our prayer. But you had a speaker who immediately released a statement that he was flying out of the country. It was the reason why. It's not about marshalling our members to be present. Our members were there. We could have voted. If we were not ready, we wouldn't have concluded the debate. So it's not about our numbers. It was about a speaker who was in a hurry to travel. And so will not entertain even one adjournment for consultation.
All right. So what's the way forward? What's the way forward?
Well, the way forward is that, like I have stated, leadership will still have to have meetings tomorrow when Parliament has a quorum, and at least we have half of members of Parliament present according to the Constitution and the standing orders. Decisions will be made on the 2022 budget.
When you say decisions will be made on the 2022 budget, what decisions are we talking about? As the majority...
The approval, I'm talking about the approval for the 2022 budget.
So
whether it is approved or disapproved, we all have to form a quorum properly in Parliament for that decision to be made.
So, in effect, you're not accepting that it's been rejected. You want...
It has not been rejected. 137 members of Parliament cannot reject the budget.
So we can anticipate that the Speaker will insist that it has been rejected. What will the majority do at this point?
Well, when we reach the bridge, we'll cross it. So let's get to Parliament, let's form the appropriate quorum, and then we'll all make decisions as Parliament.
And going forward, will the majority be insisting on the gallery being cleared every time there's a vote?
No, there's a decision. When somebody calls for division, there is it's a special arrangement that requires clearing the lobby. And you see, the way our Parliament is structured, the public gallery forms part of the lobby because the essence of clearing the lobby is to avoid the public being in there. Okay? And if you are going to shout yeah and somebody is in the public gallery, his voice can easily add up to those of us in the chamber.
Okay. So will you be asking for the gallery to be cleared?
If it is division, no, if it is division, this was a very specific case of where the standing orders requires people to leave. Okay? So it is only in division. And we told them, Honorable Muntaka, he knows that even in the divisions, when the voices still confuse or conflict, every member of Parliament is required to exit the chamber for his name to be written. So that in the process we
let me
can
ask
count
this.
the
Yes,
exact numbers.
Please hold on, Dr. Kumar. Simply, the minority is asked for 5 conditions to be met before they would support the budget. They say suspend the electronic transaction levy, withdrawal of EJAPA, provide for tidal waves disaster, properly reconstruct the wording relating to Aker Energy, and review the benchmark value for imports. Is government willing to accept these conditions?
Well, we as government respect the opinion of every group in this country. We will engage them, and if they tell us a better alternative to the 5 concerns they have raised, why not? But without any alternative proposal and without telling us why they have issues with it. And that's why we asked the finance minister asked for further engagement. It is not enough. Let me state this position. It is not enough for them to raise 5 conditions. So what is the way forward? Yes, you have raised it. We are prepared to listen, but tell us what are the alternatives. And then we will all be making progress. At the end of the day, it's about Ghana. It's not about NPP or NDC. This is our entire nation's budget we are talking about.
Let me get to Honorable Muntaka and find out from you. Now, these conditions that you've laid out, are you prepared to make concessions? So, for instance, if government says, well, we want to keep the e-levy but at a reduced percentage, is the minority willing to accept this and approve the budget?
Before I answer this, let me say with the greater respect, I mean, people are listening to us and there's some miseducation. Or my brother Kuma, I appreciate, I mean, with the greatest respect, even when I also came before the end of my first term, I was not comfortable with the stand on this. In fact, what happened about the request of the finance minister was that we were saying that no, because the finance minister had 10 days since he laid the budget to be able to do all those things. If your reporter would tell you, on Wednesday before the Friday, my deputy, Honorable Ahmed, raised the issue that neither the finance minister or any of his subordinates, 3 other subordinates, and therefore they were not taking the concerns that we were raising. And he was ruled out by the first deputy speaker in the chair. So why will you have 10 days to have listened and be able to reach out, and you didn't do that? You wait on the time for voting. Obviously, we're going to reject that. That was obvious. 2, with regards to the education about division, my brother, the deputy majority there could have called for head count. And when you go to our standing orders or the 113, head count wouldn't have necessarily required the clearing of the lobby. But he opted for division, and Speaker was trying to help him. So he read the whole thing and said, do you really want a head count or division? And he repeated, he wanted a division. And my brother, in a division, the standing orders, if you permit me, hurriedly, or the 114 says that in the case of a division, Mr. Speaker shall direct that the lobbies declared and go to order 7 where it interprets lobby. The lobby here in order 7 of our standing order says lobby means the covered corridor immediately adjoining the chamber. Adjoining the chamber. It doesn't talk about public gallery. So you could see clearly that there's some communication and understanding from their end. The finance minister, the transport minister, some other ministers were in the chamber. So if you are clearing the gallery for us to, the lobby for us to vote, any member who doesn't have a vote needs to leave. And when Mr. Speaker gave this order that yes, they need to leave because they don't have vote, because they have called for the lobby to be cleared by calling for division. And some of them were still seated. Then he reminded them, he never asked Marshall to go and walk the finance minister out. The video is there. What he said is there for us to review. He said, if any member is sitting here who is not supposed to be here and fails to move out, the speaker may have to ask the marshal to walk those people out. And they walked out without any marshal following anybody. So let's get it right. And when they were talking about the general secretary, he was in the public gallery. Public gallery, as I've just defined in the lobby, definition of the lobby in our own side, doesn't include the public gallery. So you see, that's why I'm telling you that also chairman it's not a spent layer. He has outlived his usefulness because he cannot even guide his own to be able to get the right standard orders to make the right move. Now, come back to the question that you were asking. Are we ready to engage? Obviously. I mean, look, who wants a country to come to a standstill? Democracy without some reaching out and some compromise is not a democracy. Okay. Obviously, there are things that we will say are the minimum threshold that without having those minimum thresholds, we may not be able to accept. But obviously, these are our conditions. We are saying that make sure that the e-levy is suspended for further discussion. Because as we are now speaking, my brother, the bill on the e-levy is not out. We do not even know the limitations. You have heard on your own network where one minister is saying this thing, another is contradicting him, and they say, oh, we are trying to iron out the differences. Let the bill come. When the bill is out, all of us will see what it contains, the details, the exemption, who is in, who is out. Then we'll be able to talk to a specific things. But as we are now talking, everything is based on speculation. And at the same time, it will be difficult for us to approve this. So we say that suspend it and give you time to bring the bill so that we can all look at the content of the bill and then be able to negotiate some of the content of the bill. Then after that, you can bring it either in the media review or even if you are lucky, it may even happen before the appropriation. But until we see the bill, it will be very difficult for us to just assume and approve. That means you are asking us to give you a blanket check That's what the minority is saying. When you look at the ACA and the others, all of them, we believe there are minor things that can easily be corrected because the way it is out, I think 829, is not. It doesn't reflect the decision that we took.
Right.
We believe that that's just retouching the West. Other ways, after all these disasters, you could go to Sierra Leone and dash disasters there $1 million. Yet at your own backyard, you don't make provision for it. So all these things are things that we can talk to. But look, let's allow who has to prevail. The budget was rejected. They have three options. The first option, in my view, is that they can come back and lay the same budget without any changes. And when they do that, our advice is that they should be ready because we still object to it, and they will have no less than 27 other obstacles that they will face before the appropriation. They can choose to engage so that we can get a middle ground where all of us are satisfied and say, okay, with this middle ground, the budget can go, and then I'm sure that we'll then be able to smooth till the end. The other thing, the last thing that they may have is that they say that they come and do Patapa on Tuesday. Well, we'll all be in the chamber and we'll battle it out. I believe we should allow cool health to prevail. Let us engage. Let us be able to get a middle ground. This country is not for one side. The country belongs to all of us. All of us, nobody, I don't think any of us want to see this country going down. Nobody. Because, we've been in opposition government. I've sat in the house since President Kufuor. You've been in opposition one time, another time you are in government, another time you are in opposition. So this can happen when we are also in government. Even though we don't pray for such, let us engage and try to get a middle ground. These entrenched positions will not help. And when you have a majority leader who is failing to carry the whole house, and he continues to behave as if he's a minority leader, he's only carrying one side, you will continue to have this kind of challenge.
Right.
Because
he's so, forgive me for cutting in because of our time. Just one more thing we need to know about Tuesday. Will the Speaker, Bagbin, be back? We understand he's in Dubai. Will he be back in the House on Tuesday?
No, the Speaker has, clearly indicated that he's going for his review. This review is not something that all of us in leadership knew very well, the timetable for the review. He has this review, that is 2 weeks, and the last one is in February. Those of us in leadership, it will be true to ourselves. We all know the itinerary of the reviews. So it is known. In fact, the majority of that and some of us were supposed to travel, which all chose to cancel, just to stay because obviously we can't go and leave crisis behind us.
So
but Speaker's own, it is ill health. Right. For those who are having some medical records and saying that Speaker is dying, let me remind them, sickness is different from death. All of us fall sick at a time, and all of us seek medical help and get healed.
Right.
So we wish Speaker well. We pray that he will come back healthy by the grace of God and continue to finish this thing. Let us continue to wish each other well and not wish each other evil. We don't wish them evil. All we are saying is that there are concerns by Ghanaians. Address them. Let's meet and be able to put our heads together. And we are very sure when we put our heads together, with that going to the negotiating table with an intent position.
Right.
We don't come with intent position. They must not come with intent position. Let's meet and be able to find a middle course that will better serve our country and save all of us from this chaotic situation that we are finding ourselves. That would be the best way forward.
Thank you. The reason why I asked about that was just to determine what it would do to the numbers in the chamber on Tuesday. So thanks for that clarification.
Let me just say this before Tuesday. If you're saying 137, you should know on Tuesday the first British Speaker is going to be in the chair. Even if all of them are there and we decide to walk out, there will be 137 in the chamber. If all of them are then there. Because remember, when we go on Tuesday, the first thing that will be done is to announce the absence of Mr. Speaker and announce that the first Deputy Speaker takes the mandate of the Speaker and will continue to sit in the House as the Speaker. Automatically, he ceases to have a vote, neither casting or original vote. So if by their assumption, then we also say, okay, if you are claiming, if you are in the chamber and you walk out, it means it's only 137, not based on our practice. Then there'll be 137. Then we'll see whether if you claim 137 cannot reject it, 137 can restore it.
Is that what you intend to do?
Engage. That's the best way forward.
Is that what you intend to do if the first or second Deputy Speaker makes this point? Will you walk out?
If they argue that because they walked out, we will have only 137, We'll walk out. And then they'll be left 137 if all of them are there.
Okay. All right. I
And
want to
then
thank
we'll
you
see.
both. I want to thank you both for your time with us. Sir John Kumah, of course, is the Deputy Finance Minister, but apart from that, he also happens to be the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ejisu, Dr. John Ampuntia Kumah. We've also heard from Alhaji Muntaka, who is the Member of Parliament for Asawase in the Ashanti region. Thank you both for your time. More to come on the Super Morning Show after these. But first, let's say a big thank you. We would have brought you the online review courtesy of Zenith Bank in your best interest, Goyle Good Energy, and Enterprise Life. No matter how much you make for a living, Enterprise Life has life solutions carefully crafted for you. Enterprise Life, your advantage.
So, do you know that you can drive your dream Suzuki or Mitsubishi car with the CFAO and Zenith Bank Auto Finance solution? Well, now you know. Simply talk to us if you are an individual, a salary earner, or a corporate organization. This offer comes with an attractive minimum deposit, fixed interest rates, and favorable repayment terms. Your dream to own a car can be your reality today. So call us today on 0302 680 884 or 054 2000 111 054 2000 111 for further details. Terms and conditions apply. Zenith Bank, in your best interests.
And Gold has good news for you because Gold is rewarding its prepaying Gold card customers with 2 pesos discount per liter on fuels. You also enjoy discounts on lubricants at Gold stations nationwide. So elevate your goodness by joining Gold Club today and enjoy up to 3 pesos per liter discount on fuel and amazing discounts on lubricant purchases, free life insurance cover provided by My Life Insurance, accrue and contribute loyalty points to a social group to fund an approved CSR project, and above all, enjoy exclusive Gold branded campaign gifts. Join the Gold Club. Join the Gold Club by visiting Gold stations or offices, Gold website registration.gold.com.gh, and all Gold social media platforms. Individuals, corporate, family, and social groups, join the Gold Club now. Goyle Good Energy, Goyle Ya Yedim.
All right, let's say also a big thank you to Fidelity Bank, Believe With Us, and Sethi Brothers, who would normally have brought us the BBC News. Of course, we had that important conversation, so we skipped that. Some messages, and then more on the Super Morning Show.